Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. So I had a question related with arrangements. Somebody had asked me a question, can we add small pups to arrangement? Now my advice would be avoid doing that because the pup is really very small. It is best to keep the pup in an individual pot. Like if you remember, I had taken out the pup from the leaf propagation. I gave it its own pot. So if you have a pup like this size, please don't add it in succulents that are larger. One, because we tend to water our larger succulents a little bit less as compared to the pups. So in that case, your pup might get dehydrated if the watering is less. So that can kind of damage the pup, because pups require a little bit more water as compared to the adult succulents. So do not add them in your existing collection. Let's say you have an arrangement and all of the succulents are large, but you have that little tiny space somewhere in between and you want to put a succulent, a small little succulent. Don't do that. What you can do is you can either use a small rock or something in order to make the arrangement look fuller, as I tend to use smaller rocks in between. Another example over here. Now this is an arrangement that I had made some time back. I have an aguides in this and I had added some Graptopetalum mugdoglii. Now Graptopetalum mugdoglii, this is not a pup, it is a mature size, but you can see it's not doing quite well along with my aguides. Aguides I tend to underwater. I keep them underwatered in order to get that stress colors, but I think that is not working out really well with my mugdoglii. I will take it out and put some other succulent in this. As you can see, because of that underwatering, the leaves of my mugdoglii are starting to dry and it is struggling a bit in this pot. So I'll be taking out this particular succulent. It's not a pup, it is a mature clump. Even then it is struggling because it has a little bit different watering requirement as compared to our aguides. They require a little bit more frequent watering. That's why one of the succulent is struggling in this. So this is a perfect example to show you that when the succulents have a very different requirement in terms of watering, this is exactly what's going to happen. But I have another Graptopetalum mugdoglii. This again is a mature clump. As you can see, it has its own pot and you can see it's doing quite well. So probably I'll use a similar pot for these as well. So yes, if you are making an arrangement, try to refrain from adding small pups in the arrangement. Either you can go with the same size, or if you have a large succulent, you can go with a medium size succulent, but ensure that they have the same watering requirements. Also, it's very important that they also have the same sunlight requirement. You cannot add a haworthia with aguides. Of course, either one is going to stretch or one is going to get burnt. So you have to be extremely careful. From my advice, I will say always keep your aguides in a single pot, especially if you are a beginner. Now, because I do have a good amount of experience with succulents, so I was able to notice this. But if it was a beginner, probably would have killed the mugdoglii by now because of underwatering. So we have to be extremely careful. We need to do a visual check. This is what I keep telling in every video of mine. Always do a visual check. I noticed that this is not doing quite well, so I'm going to repot her. The same way, you have to do a visual check, not only for bugs, fungus or any issues, also the maintenance, also checking if there are excess amount of dry leaves, also checking if the succulents are working together in that arrangement. If you feel any particular succulent is showing signs of discomfort, immediately repot it and put it into another pot or give it an individual pot. That is going to work out really well. The succulents do give you a lot of signs which usually beginners, I wouldn't say they ignore it, but they do not have a lot of knowledge and it goes unattended, and eventually the succulent goes to a stage wherein it is almost impossible to recover it because it goes beyond repair. So we have to be extremely careful. They will give you ample amount of signs, whether in terms of light requirement, whether in terms of sunlight, or whether in terms of the overall health. Probably if they're not doing quite well. Even for that matter, if the succulent is having some issues with the roots, wherein the roots are getting rotted or the roots are not functioning, new roots are not coming up, without digging into the soil, just by looking at the succulent itself, it will give you signs because it's going to show up a lot of wrinkles. Even after hydrating the succulents, the wrinkles are not going to disappear. This indicates that there is some issue with the roots. So as you can see, the succulents tend to help you a lot in this hobby by giving you a lot of signs. It all depends upon you whether you are able to catch those signs or you're not able to understand that. And this is very common with a lot of beginners because initially we are trying to understand them and these signs can be very difficult to be understood. So always remember, if you are a beginner, don't rush in with a large collection. Start off very slow. I've spoken about this ample amount of times because every succulent has a very different need. There can be 101 problems that can arise when you have a very large collection. It becomes very difficult for a beginner to attend all the succulents at one go. Every succulent is going to react very different. Every succulent is going to show some different sign, and by the time you understand those signs, probably the succulent is already gone. So you have to be extremely careful. I know we all want to have like hundreds of succulents, but understand guys, though having 100 of succulents is going to look absolutely beautiful, it's going to be very pleasing to eye, but at the same time there is a lot of work behind the scenes. There is a lot of work. Trust me, I'm saying this from my experience. My succulents look beautiful. A lot of people say that, but there is a lot of work that goes behind it. So you have to understand that. We tend to see images on Instagram, we tend to see images on our social media platforms, and we tend to get excited, but we don't realize that there is a lot of work that goes behind it. So I would advise, start your collection, but go very slow. Try to understand, because each succulent has a very different requirements, whether in terms of light, whether in terms of watering. A lot of things go into it, so you have to ensure that you go very slow. Try to understand each and every part of the succulent and then start growing your collection slowly. Remember, you are not in a competition. You are not going to get an award for having a lot of succulents. You're not trying to please anyone. It is just that it's your hobby. You want to grow healthy succulents, so you have to go very slow. Don't rush in. The moment you rush in, there is going to be a lot of mess. Apart from that, if you're just starting off with succulents, ensure that you have all the necessary things in place before getting the succulents, like the soil mix, like the pot. Have a good quantity of soil mix in bulk. Have a good amount of pots well in advance. If you are a person who's not able to grow the succulents outdoor, try and understand your environment. If it doesn't work out, then first get a grow light and then get your succulents. Don't get your succulents and then get a grow light, because God forbid, if that grow light is not enough or if it's not working out really well, you're again into another mess. So you have to be extremely careful. Prepare and plan things before you get your succulents. That's all what I can say. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.